Teresa Perez seems to have it all.
When she walked into a room, all heads turned.
And she never lacks for attention.
She knew how to play on men, she knew how to get their attention, and she wasn't afraid to do it.
She was seeking out men with nice cars, men with money.
But if you're thinking of leaving her, better think twice.
Rejection was the one thing Teresa was not going to stand for. It was the one thing that could make her snap.
Denver, Colorado. Prospectors once flocked here to strike it rich. In 2003, there's a new gold digger in town, Teresa Perez.
Teresa was strikingly beautiful. She'd had a history of men falling over their heels for her. As we used to say, she had a face that would let her get away.
After a long string of lovers, Teresa is convinced she's finally found the one.
She definitely loved him. Teresa thought that this was her prince. He was going to marry her. He was going to take her on trips and lavish her in jewels.
Now she just needs to convince him. Relationships have always been a constant battle for Teresa. Her parents divorce in 1966 when she's just 3 years old. Shortly after, her mother suffers a breakdown and cannot care for her. When her father remarries, there's more devastating news for Teresa and her older sister.
We can work this out.
No, I am not going to be her mother.
My dad's new wife didn't want to raise Teresa or I, so let's put him in a foster home. So we were kind of just throwing it back and forth to everybody, and everyone said they loved us, but nobody showed us they loved us.
Teresa desperately craves her father's attention.
Our father should have taken us and not chosen another woman over us. And he did. And she was angry. She was bitter.
When a person has been abandoned at an early age, it sets them up to have an unquenchable yearning for human contact and attachment. And there's a desperate attempt to avoid being abandoned again.
After 13 years in foster care, her father has a change of heart. He wants his 16-year-old daughter back in his life.
Teresa decided to go live with her father. I think it was, now I can have my dad, finally.
Get out!
When Teresa and her stepmother have a falling out, her father again sides with his second wife.
You're not my mom!
He's disappointed Teresa for the last time.
She just did not want anything to do with him. She did not consider him her father, because it was just too many times of letting her down.
Rejection is a form of trauma, and this trauma would be re-experienced in other similar situations, namely where she starts to have feelings for a man. She's going to engage in behaviors to avoid that abandonment, or in some cases, some people actually leave before they're left.
Teresa hits the streets at 17, broke and homeless. But she does have one very powerful tool at her disposal: charm.
She knew how to play on men, she knew how to get their attention, and she wasn't afraid to do it.
Teresa transformed herself into a young woman, and I think that in doing that, she discovered her sexuality, and now she had an asset to get what she wanted.
In 1983, she meets 40-year-old maintenance worker Bob Costello. He's more than happy to take her in.
Bob Costello was the first significant man in Teresa's life. He was older, he was distinguished, and it was everything she wanted in a sort of father figure.
The two bond over a shared hobby, gunplay.
He dabbled in target practice, guns, anything that he thought was really manly.
Teresa learns all about guns and love. It's a dangerous combination.
Try.
19-year-old Teresa Perez thinks she's found love with Bob Costello. And in 1984, Teresa becomes pregnant with his child. It appears that Teresa has finally found the security she craves.
Teresa and Bob had a daughter named Kirsten, and Teresa loved Kirsten, was a good mom. She took good care of her.
My mom was the strongest woman I've ever met. Courageous, I mean, she had no fear on a lot of things. And she absolutely wanted to shield me from life, like the bad things in life.
But filling the void left by her troubled youth isn't easy. Teresa finds comfort in material possessions.
What you see in her pursuit of material comfort and security is childlike. It's a quest for having something different than she experienced in her early life. And the problem is, it will never be enough.
After 5 years, Teresa becomes unsatisfied with Bob's meager salary.
Bob didn't have a lot of money. He had security. He worked for the newspaper. He had a good job. But Teresa wanted a higher lifestyle.
Teresa leaves her common-law husband and sets her sights on a bigger prize.
Men with nice cars, men with money, men of industry, men that would be attracted to her.
Each time we would talk, the men were older and older. And so I was dumbfounded by that because she was so beautiful.
In 1988, she meets a wealthy real estate developer more than twice her age. The two marry when Teresa gets pregnant a second time. But Teresa can never completely escape her emotions.
Is this your club?
Yeah.
So what's her name?
She was super emotional. She was becoming abusive and even using physical violence. It was like all the years of emotion were locked up inside of her and she could no longer hold it in. She was like a time bomb.
Just 3 weeks after they wed, Teresa's second husband files for divorce.
He supposedly had done stuff to Teresa, and she did ugly things too, and they were physical things where they had hurt one another. And it just was best that they part ways.
It's a crushing blow for Teresa, now a single mother.
Rejection was a common theme throughout Teresa's life. It was also the one thing Teresa was not going to stand for. It was the one thing that could make her snap.
She marries for the third time, but that husband doesn't pay off either.
Every time she did get married, she was looking for that long, everlasting fairy tale. So, our love, I guess.
Teresa ups the stakes, spending time in casinos, hoping the odds will be in favor of her finding Mr. Right. And in the process, she learns to gamble.
One of the hallmarks of borderline personality disorder is addictive behavior. They're constantly seeking outside things to make them feel better, be it sex, be it substance, be it gambling.
Teresa was in her element in the casinos. She loved it. They were playing the game, but Teresa was playing them.
In 1996, Teresa meets the man who will become husband number 4, Scott Perez.
And I remember even telling her, are you sure? Are you sure this is what you want to do? And oh yes, this is the one, Kirsten, this is the last time.
Teresa takes her new husband's name and gambles away most of his money. The marriage is sinking in a sea of debt. But Teresa is determined to up the ante and strike it rich one last time.
Hello.
Teresa Perez is unlucky in love and even less lucky at the casino. But she's always looking to up the stakes. On the brink of bankruptcy, she struts into Justyn Rosen's car dealership, looking for a job.
Hello.
Hello.
May I help you?
Teresa Perez, I'm looking for a new job.
You can call me JR.
Justyn Rosen was a prominent car dealer who made a lot of money and was known to a lot of people in Denver. People have referred to him as a pillar of the community.
Justyn is instantly smitten. Sensing she could end up with far more than a paycheck, Teresa puts all of her cards on the table.
Mr. Rosen and Teresa would have lunch together, but because of their age difference, nobody thought too much about it. But it grew from there into something much more.
They're both married and both seemingly lost in lust.
She could give him the youth, the excitement, the love that she felt he was lacking, and he could give her the money, the stability, and the power that she wanted.
Teresa's convinced she's finally found her soulmate. She leaves husband number 4.
Teresa thought that Justyn was going to be the answer.
And soon, her days of working for Justyn are over. He prefers to keep her hidden away in a cozy love nest.
Got something for you.
He pays her rent and expenses in cash to avoid a money trail.
Teresa felt like Justyn could give her the things that she wanted. He could give her that home. He could give her money. She even agreed to his terms of being her mistress.
I have something for you too.
Wow.
In return for his generosity, Justyn expects his secret lover to keep him sexually satisfied, something she's more than happy to do. But there's a hitch.
She kept it a big secret from me, I think, because she knew what she was doing was wrong. She was ashamed, I think, of what was going on, and she didn't want me to see.
In an ironic twist, Teresa sends her daughter away, just as she had been sent away years earlier.
My mom said that she wanted me to go live with my dad. It just really broke my heart, because I just wanted to be with her. So I was really resentful and bitter and just wasn't happy there. I wanted to be with my mom.
Teresa falls into the same cycle of abandonment that her father engaged in, except she's going to do it to her own daughter. People that have had the experiences that Teresa have often recreate this in their own next generation.
Teresa's used to being the center of attention, and 6 years into the relationship, being the other woman loses its appeal.
She would get bored in the apartment. She said, "What can I do?" She said, "I fix him lunch, he comes here, and we have our little rendezvous in the afternoon, and then he goes back." She said, "We don't have a life."
I'm going to leave her.
When?
Teresa spends her days holed up in her apartment, waiting for Justyn to leave his wife. But Rosen is simply not willing to leave his marriage.
I want everything.
We want to give you the whole treatment, the best treatment we can.
Sunroof to the
Would you- Hello?
I haven't seen you in over a week. When are you gonna leave her?
Look, I can't talk right now.
Why are you doing this to me?
I can't take this anymore. Why are you doing this to me?
Ma'am, if you'll just
Justyn was desperate. He didn't know what to do. His whole image was being threatened, his livelihood, his reputation as a dad.
Why are you doing this to me?
As Teresa wants more and more, her benefactor offers less and less.
Justyn made lots of promises to her. He was going to leave his wife, he was going to marry her, and just give her all the things she desired.
I think she saw life of opportunity going out the window when he pulled back from her. And that's when everything changed.
In 2003, Teresa's world comes crashing down. Justyn is diagnosed with cancer and decides to end the affair.
Justyn got ill and told her he was going to stay married, and that was it. And she could not believe that.
This is going to unleash all of those historical forces of abandonment that were set into motion years ago. She's going to become unstable, and those forces are going to propel her to engage in stalking behavior, to make threats, and to become dangerous.
Teresa begins to fight dirty, desperately clinging on to the man she loves.
Teresa made contact with Justyn's wife, and she basically just said that he was going to leave her and be with Teresa, and she was trying to break them up.
With their guilty secret exposed, Justyn severs all ties with Teresa, and the cash dries up too.
She wasn't going to have an apartment, she wasn't going to have a car, she was going to lose all of that.
Everything that she wanted in her life was slipping away from her, and she realized that, and she was not going to be cast aside. She was not going to be dismissed.
He promised X, Y, and Z and did not deliver, and I think that it was just the end of the line for her. She just did not think there was anything else to live for.
Teresa is planning one final visit to the man who stole her heart. And now, all bets are off. October 3rd, 2003. Justyn Rosen arrives home from work. Someone is waiting and watching. His ex-lover, Teresa Perez.
What are you doing parking here? Why are you blocking?
Want to go for a ride? Get in the car. Get in the car.
I'm not sure Rosen knew where she was taking him. I'm not sure she knew, but she used the ride and the gun trained on him to try to portray to him how serious she was, how this was going to be the last day of their lives together.
Why is your lawyer calling me? Are you trying to set me up? Yes, you are!
Teresa lashes out at Justyn during their ride from hell.
I'm gonna embarrass the hell out of you because you tried to set me up! Why have you lied to me for 6 years? What are you doing? Don't pull in there!
Gripped with fear, Justyn steers the car towards the parking lot of a Denver police station.
Justyn Rosen tears into the parking lot, jumps out of the car, says, "She's got a gun, she's got a gun."
Police officer, drop your weapon! Drop your weapon!
Go ahead and shoot me!
Drop your weapon, officer!
At that moment, Teresa looked at the police officer, put the gun to her head.
She fires several shots at Rosen from across the vehicle, and he falls to the ground.
Drop your weapon! Drop your weapon!
Drop the weapon!
I heard numerous gunshots.
Officer 𝐏𝐿𝐫𝙚 has Teresa in his sights.
Drop your weapon!
She stands over Rosen, shooting him several more times at point-blank range before she is hit.
I'm returning fire at her through the door, and I saw her go down.
Both Teresa and Justyn are dead. An officer is hit, but survives. Teresa's daughter hears the news from her father.
I could tell that something was wrong. And he said, "It's your mom." I said, "Well, what's wrong?" He said, "She killed Rosen." And I think I just like freaked out. I was like, "She killed Rosen, what the hell?" I knew something was going on. And I said, "Well, where is she?" And she's dead too.
On the seat of her car, detectives find a suicide note to her 2 children. It reads, "I'm sick inside, and I feel like I have already died. This man killed me."
Hello.
In the end, Teresa Perez played Russian roulette with her own heart.
She had put her everything into this man, and she lost.